The FBI has removed material that may be offensive to Muslims from its anti-terror training guidelines. A report from Judicial Watch shows that materials linking the Muslim Brotherhood to terrorism or profiling terrorists as young male immigrants of Middle Eastern appearance are now gone. The Bureau calls such references unsuitable in the current political context. An independent group of subject matter experts reviewed the FBI's training curricula on counterterrorism. They recommended the removal of presentations and curricula on Islam from FBI offices around the country.
2 weeks after a failed coup against the government, Turkey is carrying out a brutal crackdown on suspected enemies across all spheres of society.
Turkey's Supreme Military Council has already cashiered close to 1,700 officers, including 149 generals and admirals. More dismissals are coming today. 16,000 people have been detained over suspected links to the failed coup, including 10,000 soldiers. More than 45,000 people have been suspended or removed from their jobs. Dozens of news agencies, TV channels, and newspapers have been shut down. Arrest warrants have been issued for 89 journalists. This journalist being taken in by police said, "I have committed no crimes." When asked why he is being detained, he answers, "I don't know why. I'll find out now." Amnesty International calls it a brutal backlash. There are reports that some in custody have been tortured and raped. Some have been hogtied for 2 days. President Erdogan has also indicated Turkey might restore the death penalty to use it against the coup plotters. But that would effectively doom Turkey's bid to join the European Union.
Hundreds of Bernie Sanders supporters are expected to stage a fart-in at the Democratic National Convention, consuming massive quantities of pork and beans in preparation for the pungent protest. I kid you not. We have yet to ascertain why the liberals are passing gas, but the mass flatulence is expected to happen just moments before Hillary Clinton's acceptance speech. Thunderstorms are in the forecast, and there are fears the static discharge from a lightning strike could cause the protesters to spontaneously combust. Scientists have grave concerns that the sheer number of gassy liberals could blow a hole in the ozone from Philadelphia to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Residents in the projected path of the foul wind should begin immediate preparations. FEMA recommends acquiring gas masks and at least 2 cases of industrial-strength Febreze. And to those of you in the blast zone, Godspeed.
Thanks to WikiLeaks, close to 20,000 emails from Democratic Party officials are now out and open to the public. These emails reveal that not only did Democratic Party officials favor Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders, they also show the extent to which party officials collude with the mainstream media.
We have maintained for years that the press was an offshoot of the DNC. And that was kind of a rhetorical statement, but it turns out it's true.
Brent Bozell with the conservative media watchdog group MRC says the emails confirm what his organization has understood.
There has been an ongoing active participation between the supposedly objective neutral press and the Democratic National Committee.
The emails show that the Democratic National Committee often ignored requests from conservative-leaning media while working with other, more liberal outlets. The Daily Signal, published by the Heritage Foundation, pointed out another email from the DNC Deputy Communications Director saying he could send out an alert to state parties not to respond to a request from the Washington Examiner because, quote, the Examiner is a right-wing rag. And the DNC didn't respond to a Fox News reporter who wanted a response on a Donald Trump statement on Bill Clinton's affairs. Instead, the DNC official called the reporter a crude name and said he didn't have an emoji for a profane response. One leak shows a political reporter asking DNC officials to review his piece on Hillary Clinton before it was published. After the leak, the reporter admitted he made a mistake.
People are only voting for Donald Trump. Most of his supporters are only voting for him because he's a white guy.
The MRC is running taxi ads and billboards in Philadelphia this week, hoping to draw attention to what the leaks show, an often cozy relationship between the mainstream media and the Democratic Party.
The final night of the DNC didn't disappoint. Well, that is if you enjoy watching a political travesty in full swing, more akin to a cult of veiled corruption than the remnants of the ragged Democratic Party. Honestly, one would have to assume the entire grand finale of the DNC was difficult for anyone with a shred of decency witness. Jettisoned from the lair of the mainstream media teleprompters, doling out 40% more airtime to the DNC over the RNC, a Bernie delegate was stripped of his credentials for holding an unauthorized sign that read, "Stop TPP." James O'Keefe, disguised as a Hillary supporter, was physically attacked by an angry mob, cordoned off behind fences erected all around the convention center, while merchandisers struggled to get a return for anything Hillary related. Even the weather wasn't cooperating with the monumental farce, as flash flood warnings were in effect. Back inside the DNC, Hillary's campaign manager labeled Hillary a tough sell, while white noise machines were brought in to drown out the inevitable booing that had plagued the entire event. Inevitably, lunacy prevailed. Self-proclaimed Illuminati witch Katy Perry groveled.
Both of my parents are pastors and staunch Republicans. I didn't finish high school, and unfortunately I don't have a formal education, but I do have an open mind, and I have a voice.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar labeled Trump a racist.
I'm Michael Jordan, and I'm here with Hillary. I said that because I know that Donald Trump couldn't tell the difference.
Regardless of the fact that Trump never mistook Kareem to be Michael Jordan to begin with, a Muslim American unleashed a bizarre tirade against Trump.
Donald Trump consistently smears the character of Muslims.
A leftist DNC Action Committee member was prowling the floor, threatening to interrupt Hillary's speech with a citizen's arrest for election fraud and money laundering, while the reports questioning the DNA parentage of Chelsea Clinton couldn't be ignored as the daughter of Hillary Clinton and quite possibly Webb Hubbell introduced the Democratic candidate for president.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary's voice rattled the DNC.
Bernie Sanders and I will work together to make college tuition free for the middle class and debt free for all. Wall Street, corporations, and the super rich are going to start paying their fair share of taxes.
An evil, demeaning tone promising lies upon lies. Lies she had perfected when she and Bill raped Haiti in the guise of doling out humanitarian aid as their pay-to-play scheme grew in ferocity, or flip-flopped on her political base regarding the environmental aspects concerning the Keystone Pipeline to line her own pockets, or covered for a major arms transfer to ISIS, while U.S. Ambassador J. Christopher Stevens and U.S. Foreign Service Information Management Officer Sean Smith were brutally murdered. But in true Hillary fashion, she may very well enter the DNC on the heels of one botched investigation, only to be faced with the possibility of a brand new one as she enters the main event. WorldNet Daily reports, some say an IRS investigation into the Clinton Foundation is just desserts, given the evidence the couple, when in the White House, used the nation's most feared agency to target their political enemies and others who inconveniently crossed their paths in the 1990s. As the Daily Caller News Foundation reported Wednesday that IRS Commissioner John Koskinen referred congressional charges of Clinton Foundation pay-to-play activities to his tax agency's exempt operations office for investigation. The initiative is being led by Representative Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee, who sent a letter she signed with 63 other Republicans to the IRS, FBI, and Federal Trade Commission, charging the foundation is lawless. Now it's our turn. Hillary must be stopped. And I don't mean that lightly. Hillary represents nothing less than a foreign enemy. We are hanging on to our sovereignty and our beloved Constitution by our fingernails, whether the citizens of the United States are aware of it or not. Those carrying the torch of free speech now won't be around to say, "I told you so," if Hillary enters the Oval Office. Hillary's rap sheet doesn't lie. A vote for Hillary is a vote for the annihilation of this 240-year-old experiment in freedom our forefathers and foremothers handed down to us, for better or for worse.